Kani kedai ke Batisi TV, bat pidang pet ya ke kubur baman kasni, belawan rasa pi tak ke rupa, ringkat bat ke Orange Nissan, lom sokpo near Fire Brigade Shillong.
New Nissan Kicks. Bookings open now.
Ke darbar senrai jong ke yang darbar thawan kani ke jela Meghalaya. Ha ka shipotrik mentau nailor arhazat ke kendai. Ha ba phasik kinta keli jingkeli da kaliang persya. Ha kani kesngi uwene ki MLA jong ke sang Congress, u Zenet M Sangma, ula panjing pensai na usambot menteri rangba ke jela, uba Preston Tensong, uba khmi ru yakatnat Public Works Department Roads. Ubala bo jingkeli halor kesurok na Shillong, Sharongjeng, Jengjal hadu tura, ke jingjrong jong kani kesurok, katno kemang pisa na kebenta kani kesurok, bat menolak pendap ya ke jingsna pura ya kani kesurok.
I would like to know from the Honourable Minister, in the course of his reply, he mentioned the total amount of sanction to be 2,319.44 crore, whether it includes the compensation part also.
No, sir.
If the reply is in the negative, then there must be some compensation given to the landowners in different states. So I would like to know how much amount has been involved for the compensation.
Yes, sir, this is only the total sanctioned amount for construction of road. That's what I replied to 319. As far as compensation component is concerned, again we have 390.51 crores for the entire stretch.
I would like to request the minister to repeat the amount.
The compensation component, sir, sanctioned was 390.51 crores.
Mr. Speaker, sir, whether the estimate was revised from the original amount of sanction subsequently.
Sir, is it for the construction of road, or is he asking for the compensation?
Obviously, when Mr. Deputy Speaker said revised maybe for the construction, the total amount sanction indicated here. After that, subsequently, whether this estimate was revised.
Sincere question, honorable member.
Yes.
This is about the when was the Shillong Rooster Rongjang Jingjal Road Tura Road sanction? About the sanction and the total laying of the road and total sanction amount for the road. When was the construction of the road completed? But this is a different new question.
No, sir. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it is pertaining to this very scheme only. I just want to know whether subsequently the amount has been revised or not. The estimated amount.
Yes, sir. Sir, I will reply to this. Yes, sir. 2319, as I've already replied, 2319.44 crores was the revised estimation. And then prior to that, in fact, initially the estimate was 1694.16 crores. Then that was the original estimate, sir. Then again, in the course of time, revised estimate happened again during the year 2015, 2158.18 crores. And the ultimate revised estimate was agreed and increased to 2319.44 crores.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, may I know from the Honorable Deputy CM in charge PWD the breakup out of this total amount of sanction in respect of the construction and the land acquisition part, just to know about the land acquisition total amount.
Sir, in fact, I've already replied. The land acquisition component is 390.51, and that is excluding the sanction for construction.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, then whether the claim for land acquisition by the landowners have been all disposed of?
Sir, as per the court till today, almost, yes, almost cleared, but few cases still pending with the respective deputy commissioners.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, by the reply of the Honorable Deputy CM, there are landowners who are still approaching the authorities for the pending payment of land acquisition. So may I get the assurance from the government that all measures will be taken to ensure that all those genuine claims will be further examined and disposed of?
Yes, sir, as I've already replied, because few cases it was under dispute. So now we already directed all the deputy commissioners to dispose of these dispute issues, whatever, because the amount is intact, and once this dispute issues is settled, payment will be made accordingly, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, there is some problem. The problem is that because the possession of the land was taken even before the whole LA proceeding was completed. Let us be very clear on that. Because a request was made to the landowners even before the LA proceeding was done. That's the reason why we could complete the project well ahead in time. And people were that way very supportive, cooperative, as you are all aware, that without receiving any single paisa, the stretch particularly in Garo Hills, people gave land trusting the government that all the necessary compensation will be provided, paid to the landowners as per the norms. Now, these landowners are, for the benefit of the House, are not so much acclimatized with the legal procedure. They are having some problem. So therefore, may I therefore, with this information that I'm submitting before this August House, get a categorical assurance from the government that at least some special review will be done to ensure that these landowners who are yet to receive, some special team can be made to review these whole pending cases and dispose of at the earliest, because it has been probably last 3-4 years they have been running from pillar to post.
Yes, I understand the concern of our leader of opposition, and for the information of the House, as far as Garo Hills is concerned, we have two sections. One is West Garo Hills, where we have two landowners in West Garo Hills, which is yet to be paid, and that also it was due to the expired of the owners. So now we are waiting for the succession certificate, and once that is done, then DTC will be accordingly disperse this amount. That is one section. And the second section is about East Garo Hills. In East Garo Hills, we have 12 who are yet to receive the compensation. As I said to you, two of them again due to death. So we are waiting for the succession. And one out of the 15 is under dispute, and 12 of them, letter has been issued by the respective DCs to turn out and also to receive the amount entitled by all of them. So sir, whatever, I will take it up again. I assure the Honorable Leader of Opposition, I will make sure that the landowners get their dues as entitled, whatever, sir.
Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to say that this road, Nongstoin to Jengjal, has really come as a big blessing to the people of the area, and also for us to travel from Shillong to Tura and vice versa. But sir, while traveling, I would like to bring to the notice of the government that as per the National Highway norms, they should be having the wayside amenities all along the road, as in there are no toilets, there are no washrooms along the way. So I would like to suggest to the government and to the department concerned, including the tourism department, to come up with some eating joints, with some good dhabas and restaurants, and also with wayside amenities all along the way.
Sir, point noted, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, may I know from Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, how many land owners have been involved regarding with this project, and out of which, how many have been paid compensation, sir?
Can you reply?
No problem, sir.
Sir, I don't have much details with me because, in fact, I do have the details of those who were not paid yet. So, for this question, I require notice, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, since the project have been completion in 15 December 2017, may I know from Honorable Deputy Chief Minister whether the bill have been cleared to all the contractors or still pending, sir?
Sir, yes, bill was cleared, except, as I said to you, the component of land acquisition.
Nakaliang UMLA kasing Congress na Nongpo constituency uba Meral Bonds ulabo jingkali yu Menteri Sarkar Bakmi yakatnat pulih putih ke Jela uba Lakman Remboy. Baka dai kajing sishan baya ka vocational education program jong ka Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan la Penteri Kam hakane ke Jela Meghalaya. Lada la Penteri Kam ki ek jat kam la aji kai bar ka kertang je ki skol bar ki district hakaba la Penteri Kam yakane ke scheme.
So I would like to know from the Honorable Minister, are the department prepared to introduce more trade apart from the 7 trade that have been already introduced? And if so, what kind of trade they are planning to introduce?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as of now, only the 7 trade have been introduced, and for future thing we will look into it.
So I want to know from the Honorable Minister whether there a government education department, apart from all the statement has been laid, all the government school have introduced in government school. So I want to know whether apart from government school, other school also this trade will be introduced, so that those young students, those young people, they can get this opportunity to get this training, because government school is not balanced everywhere. There are some place, some region, there are no government school, and to be balanced, so I want to know whether the government have any plan or not to introduce apart from government school.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this program was launched in consultation with the Ministry of Human Resource Development. As of now, only 23 schools have been approved, and then it is an endeavor of the government to extend this program to all over the state. But as I said before, since these have to be approval of the MHRD also needed, so we will look into this in the future.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, from the list of schools that have been provided by the government, and where these skilling programs have been provided, it seems that only government schools have been taken up in the first phase. Now, sir, whether with these skilling programs, whether the government schools have also been provided with adequate infrastructure and training tools so that they can accommodate these skilling programs?
So, all the training all these training programs are done in this 23 government school, and the government has provided honestly infrastructure to do this skilling.
So what is the kind of additional support that has been provided to these schools to take up the skilling programs?
So, in fact, so this program has been launched in partnership with the service provider. As of now, this service provider, which have been empaneled by NSDC, is the Orient EduTech, IIM Limited, Laksh, Empower Prakriti, and IL and FS. These are the service provider which help to train the student in this 23 school. So we and the government, we provide the place, and these trainers, trainer, they teach the student as per the trade which they are signed the MOU with the government.
So actually that was not the reply I expected, because I was looking at the infrastructural part as well as the training tools. We well understand that in terms of support, it will come from the Government of India as per the NSDC enlisted training providers. But then, sir, our government schools don't have training halls, and here we're looking at IT-enabled services, electronics and hardware, healthcare, travel and hospitality, and various other trades that require special equipments as well as adequate space, so that the skilling programs have they meet the objective. So I would request the Honorable Minister to kindly review and perhaps depute teams to ensure that the schools are effectively equipped, so that all these training programs can be taken up with the desired objectives.
You will look to it. Yes.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to inquire from the Honorable Education Minister, is there a marking system in these courses? If yes, how do they impact on the final evaluation of the student at that stage of education?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the pass percentage of in the MBOS 2018-19 is 10%. So this is the additional subject which have been imparted to in this 23 school in the state of Meghalaya. Some students have taken this course, and in 2018-19, 312 of them have appeared, and 10% of them have cleared the exam.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, that does not satisfy my question, sir. My question is whether or not these vocational courses impact on the overall calculation of marks for students in this level of education.
This is the additional subject, as I said before. So it is an impact of in the form of the feeling of the student, and also in their mark it is there.
So, Deputy Speaker, sir, my question is this. If this option is available only for these 25 or 23 odd schools, and that if these students have the privilege of a vocational course in a subject, whereas the other thousands of schools do not have this facility, so how is that going to pan out for justification of inclusion of only these schools? Why are the other schools in the entire education system not allowed to start their own vocational courses, so that there will be equal benefits to all students, equity of education?
I have already answered that question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, that in the first place only these 23 schools have been started. It is our endeavor that to see that this course could be replicated into other schools in the state. But as I mentioned before, that this is additional subject. Any school are who are volunteer to start, they can start. But this 23 school is supported by the Ministry of HRD, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Now the issue is the criteria of selection of the schools. So may I know from the Honorable Minister, specifically in respect of the infrastructure, I think that should be the parameter which should be the most important parameter while looking at the selection of the schools. Now therefore, whether this particular parameter has been taken into consideration while selecting these schools.
This 23 schools have met all the criteria. That's why the MSRD has approved for the starting of the schools in these schools.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I think we have come up with quite a substantial investment to upgrade the infrastructure of the secondary and higher secondary schools under the Human Capital Development Program. So you already have those infrastructure, and they are capable of providing the required space, because under Human Capital Development Program, this part, that vocational training part also was inclusive of the program. Therefore the infrastructures are there. So I think it's therefore appropriate for the government to have the list of these schools as we proceed further with this program. So may I get a categorical assurance from the government that this parameter, keeping in mind the amount of investment that we have made and the kind of infrastructure that we have created, can be optimally utilized for the benefit of the students?
Mr. Speaker, so that's why I said that if we could replicate this in the other school also. I may also clarify here, sir, that all those schools which done with the support of ADB are all not in the government school. So if possible, as and when fund is available from any external program, we should see that the government school should be improve its own infrastructure, sir.
Nakaliang UMLA jong ka Salman Para, Winason di Sangma, ulabo jengkeli yo Menteri Sarkar Bakmi, yakatnan Arts and Culture, uba ALHeng, ba kajing putreka mika skim IA and CDP, ban DTFM, dang betang em hakani kejela.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, may I know from the Honorable Minister in charge Arts and Culture, when was the fund under these two programs, INCDP and DTFM, for the year 2018-19 was released?
So the release of fund under the scheme IACDP and DTFM 2018-19, sir, it was released I have only the order, sir, but the date says the 6th February 2019.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the pack is all the MLAs representing Southwest Kargils, Salman Para, MLA from Salman Para, MLA from Mahendraganj, MLA from Ampati, MLA from Rangsakuna is yet to receive the fund under these two schemes till today. So may I know what is the reason?
So the reason is because the DCs have not submitted the bank account to the Agriculture Department.
Sir, I would request the Minister in charge to direct the authority concerned in the department to take up the matter for release of this fund at the earliest.
So when the account number is submitted to the department, definitely we will release immediately to the DCs.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I heard some account number to be submitted.
Yeah,
Who is to submit the account number?
The DC, the Deputy
Who is
Commissioner.
DC? DC is under the government.
So, sir,
It's an extension of the government. Therefore, the direction has to be given to the Deputy Commissioner. Rather, DC should be pulled up. Why he has not been able to submit the account?
Number from the Deputy Commissioner, only then we can release the amount to the respective Deputy Commissioners.
Will the government then Deputy Commissioner to inform the government the reason for delay of submitting this account number.
We will take it up, sir.
We are thankful to the government for this IACDP and BTFM scheme, which has been there for all the 60 MLAs, which has been enmarked on 2.5 lakh per year per MLA. There are huge demands from the sports club, Seng Samla, for that we can buy this equipment, be it the modern equipment, be it the traditional instrument. So I feel that according to the present economic scenario, 2.5 lakh is very less, with due respect. So I want to know from the Honorable Minister, with a special request, not only from me, I hope all the 60 will be happy if this scheme will be increased from 2.5 lakh, maybe to 5 or to some more higher amount. This is my sincere request that the department will look into to consider this suggestion.
So we welcome the suggestion given by the Honorable MLA for Nongpo, but we will examine the matter, sir.
Nakaliang unong ilam jo kaliang persya hiyang terbar thawan Dr. Mukul Sangma hakani kasngi ula panjing pensai na menteri rang ba kejela ukon rat ke Sangma ba kadin am kajing sisa ba ka office jong u district magistrate jong ka Southwest Garo Hills district kala hukum bentuk ket da ka magistral inquiry halor kajing ja yakan an ha Mahendraganj hak arpu artere unaitung menta usnam arjar kat kendai hak bala jaru kajing saksian uwei ubreu badan jingduna hak bor perkhan haki pulen.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, whenever there is a ministerial inquiry order, there is a specific time frame given for the inquiry to be completed. So may I know from the Chief Minister, what is the duration of time in this instant case for the ministerial inquiry to be completed?
So the order was given on the 25th of July 2019, and here 15 days were given for the inquiry.
So therefore 15 days have passed. 15 days have passed. Whether extension for the purpose of completion of this ministerial inquiry has been given by the government?
Yes, sir.
May I know from the Chief Minister the date till which the extension has been given?
So September 30th.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, may I know from Honorable Chief Minister, who's the officers who had this inquiry, sir?
So the inquiry is being headed by MCS officer, ADM, Shri S.C. Lalu.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, whenever such ministerial inquiry is ordered, and when the ministerial inquiry is on, there has to be wide publicity for the people who would be volunteering to come and dispose before the magistrate concerned. Therefore, whether adequate publicity for the people about the extension has been given or not?
Yes, sir.
Which media was used to give this publicity, wide publicity?
So the details information of which sources were there is not here with me right now. But as was mentioned by the Leader of Opposition, in all magisterial inquiries that are conducted, adequate information is always given to the public.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this information we are getting only now, which implies that there is no wide publicity. There is no wide publicity. Therefore, may I get a categorical assurance from the Chief Minister that direction will be given to the concerned Deputy Commissioner to ensure that there is a wide publicity in the best interest of administration of justice.
So point noted.
Hakani kador barsan ra hakani kasngi kabalai nakaliang persya ka MLA jong kasang Kongres na East Shillong kata ka Dr. Ampuri Ningdo kalabo jingkli yo Menteri Sarkar Bakmi yakatnat pule puthi uba lakman ramboi kani ka MLA kalakali yakisenjam jong ka Sarkar Jala Meghalaya halor ka artikel 29 31, 32 jong ka constitution jong kari India. Nang ta ka kerteng jong ki komiti balatha dok sarkar halor kani kebenta bat kat notali kini ki komiti kilasong jelang hakini ki hindreu hadu prabanai balalen.
Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to appreciate the efforts that has been always put in by the government of Meghalaya to protect minority institutions. I would like to first come to D, sir. The Honourable Minister said that the draft policy on the matter has not been initiated yet, sir. But to my information, the last day for the submission of state's view on the public domain was the 31st of July. So may I get some clarity on his statement, sir?
Mr. Speaker, sir, that is a draft policy of a draft national education policy, sir.
I understand that, sir. My question is, the government of Meghalaya is expected to submit observations, objections before the 31st of July. So has the government of Meghalaya done it or not, sir?
We have done it.
So may the honourable members of this August House be privy to the suggestions of the government of Meghalaya to the Ministry of HRD, and may this statement kindly be placed on the floor of the House for our perusal of the matter.
I will do the letter which we sent to the government of India regarding the point which concern the state regarding the draft national education policy of the government of India. That letter which we have sent, I will place on the floor of the House.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir, it's still not clear. A letter is something which I, as a legislator, would not like to see. But I would like to know what were the observations of the government of Meghalaya on the proposed draft policy and what was sent to the government of India. So let me go to the next question. Sir, at A, we agree that the government of Meghalaya has always protected the minority institution as per constitutional provision. May I know what is the mind of the Department of Education in the indicators indicated in Chapter 14H, Chapter 17A?
Can you repeat your question, please?
May I know the response of the Government of Meghalaya Education Department on the indicators at Chapter 14H and Chapter 17A, particularly over and above its repeated presence in the draft national policy?
The detail of that I don't have with me. I require notice.
So just to give some hint to the Honourable Minister of Education, Chapter 14H specifically discusses language. Chapter 17A discusses the school complex. So may I know the mind of the Education Department on how it's going to deal with these two very important indicators in the policy, and what is the stand of the government of Meghalaya in response to the invitation for submission of objections claims on the draft policy?
Mr. Speaker, sir, regarding the language, we are on the view that the status quo be maintained as of now. But I may also say here, sir, what about the question which the honourable member has raised? It is raised about the status of the Article 29, 31 and 32. But now she talk about the national education policy, draft national education policy. If she want to discuss about that, she can bring other things, because all the detail, I cannot just read whatever may be, because I'm not prepared for that. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir, the very fact that Article 29, 31 and 32 have been enshrined in the Constitution initiates for this debate, where I have already asked questions A, B, C, D on the matter. Nevertheless, I would like the government, sir, I would like the Education Department, the Minister particularly, through you, sir, to give us the assurance that these matters would be dwelt in and would be considered for urgent discussion at government level, and necessary indication should be sent to the department, to the government of India. So at B, the Honourable Minister has said that no committee has been formed. May I therefore inquire from the Honourable Minister Education, at Chapter 1E, the Government of India already indicates the proposal of a transit plan for the formation of the new Education Ministry, which will involve many line departments. What is the mind of the Government of Meghalaya on this matter, sir?
I have already mentioned before, Mr. Deputy Speaker, so that this is the discussion is not related to the question which the Honourable Member has asked. That's why I told that if we are here to protect the interest of the state, to protect the interest of the minority in the state, or minority institution in the state of Meghalaya, whatever issue which affect the state of Meghalaya and the minority institution, we will not agree to it. So, as I said, the draft, it is still a draft national education policy. We have sent our view, and the CAB will sit in the next few week or month. I don't know. It depends upon the central government. So, at that point of time, whatever view we have sent to the government, we will discuss, we will forcefully discuss. In fact, we have met also with the Honorable Chief Minister, we have met the Honorable HRD Minister, Government of India, to express our view. We are following the matter, and I seek the cooperation of each and every member of the House, that whatever view which they see, they can only always inform me, write me, enlighten me, so that whatever issue which we could take with the government of India, we could strengthen the minority here collectively to protect interests of the minority institution in the state of Meghalaya, sir.
So I would like to thank the, sir, I would like to thank the Honourable Education Minister for opening out this invitation to all of us. But sir, my last request to the Education Minister would be therefore, is it necessary therefore to form a committee in the Legislative Assembly so that all MLAs who are interested and who have some important reading of the proposed NEP, so that we may be given a platform therefore to throw our ideas and make necessary suggestions at the right forum. Because a blanket invitation to just say anybody who has any good idea or observation should write to me is not very standing. So may I request the Honourable Chief Minister to assure us that we would be included in all of these consultations, because so we've just been sent by the Legislative Assembly to a recent dialogue and discussion to Delhi, where MLAs from all parties went, and it was very, very enlightening for us. We need to have similar exercises in our own state. May I have this assurance from the Honourable Chief Minister, please?
So we'll get the merit examined, sir.
Nagaliang ka MLA jong ka Mahendraganj constituency ka Dikanchi di Shira kalabo jingkali yo Menteri Sarkar bakmi ya katnat ka koi ka khia kata yo ba AL heng hakaba kalakali halor ka jingsa priang ki khnang jipang hakasni do ka balakta ya bon kinong sungsnong jong ka thaj Mahendraganj ha South Garo Hills district.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, the reply to question number 32A is no, sir. But reporters from print media and different TV news from Assam have carried with pictures that there is a skin diseases affecting large number of people in Mahendraganj, which is my constituency. And I myself have checked and verified from the villagers also, and they have informed me that in almost all the villages there are persons affected by the skin disease. So, Deputy Speaker, sir, may I know from the Minister of Health and Family Welfare whether the government has tried to verify that the skin diseases which are affecting the people of Mandraganj are prevalent from before, or it has spread more after the flood?
This prevalent from the before, sir. This the endemic, sir. It's not happening only during the floods.
Deputy Speaker, sir, in that case, may I know from the Minister whether the awareness for cleanliness and hygiene programs are being conducted for the people who are affected, and I would like to know also whether they are providing medicines for these affected people.
So for the information of the House, if I go through the statement given by the district when they went for the survey, if they allow me to read out, then they will get all the information regarding the skin disease. So this is the statement given with reference to the subject cited above. I have the honor to inform you that there is no outbreak of skin disease in Mandraganj area and the southwest Garo Hill district. However, based on the news regarding the epidemic of skin diseases in Mandraganj area, the team led by Dr. K.A. Sangma, the MNHO, Southwest Garo Hills, Dr. Lucy Beth Sangma, dermatologist, Civil Hospital Tura, MNHOs of the Office of the District Medical Health Officer, Southwest Garo Hills, at Mandraganj CHC, visited the CHC and surrounding areas of Mandraganj.
Deputy Speaker, sir, can I request Minister in charge to lay it on the table, the House?
Sure, definitely.
Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I have also gone through the reports, and in fact it was very aggressively circulated through the social media, not just confining within our state, but have gone across the boundary. Now, if large number of people are affected, I don't know, sometimes we use the words nomenclature, outbreak. If large number of people are affected and has been there for quite substantial period of time, now we have to look at one angle as to why large number of people are getting affected by the skin disease. Is it because of some other cause? It need not be necessarily the living conditions in respect of hygiene. It can be because of water, or it can be because of other factors, but I doubt that it can be because of water. So whether, therefore, this angle is being looked at by the department, request other institutions to visit the site and make a detailed study, because all this area bordering Bangladesh, even up to North Bengal, there is a problem of water having arsenic poison, and that has been a challenge even in the state of West Bengal. Therefore, there is a need for serious study of this. It cannot be just whimsically say that, okay, it is because of the living conditions, unhygienic living conditions. No, because large number will have a serious health problem, and serious health problem will always result in dislocation of economy. Therefore, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would urge upon the government to see that this particular case is studied, involving all the necessary experts, involving institutions. We have the NEGRIMS, we have the people representing World Health Organization. So the department should have by now acted on that line. But I'm afraid that we were taking it so lightly. But may I therefore get an assurance that let us have a team involving all the necessary experts from different institutions from the nation under the command of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, and also the World Health Organization, and see what exactly is happening, because it is contiguous with Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is a serious similar problem.
Sir, as rightly said with the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, that is not only the living condition, because of the climatic condition also, sir. And then we'll look into the matter suggestion given by the Honorable LOs.
Sa waipat UMLA kasang Kongres ubalabo jingkali persya ya ka sarkar hakani ka darbar senrai kabalalong hakasipotrek menta unailor aradar ka kendai. Uday UMLA na rembrai jerngam constituency uba Kimfa Sydney Marbanyang. Une UMLA ulabo jingkali yo menteri sarkar bakmi ya ketnan sam boarding electric haka jella u James Pangsang Kongkal Sangma. Baka sarkar ka dan jingtir nem halor ka Kulsi Dam project kabadai ka national project jong ka Brahmaputra board kabaran hakap board apdang ka jala Meghalaya bat Assam halor kani ka jingkali na kalyak menteri rang ba ka jala ukonrat kisang maru ula shembenta banjuba hakaba ulong baka sarkar kat up ya ka detailed project report haswa ban kran halor kani ka project.
Honorable Deputy Speaker sir, I would look to ask question number B. The reply is yes, sir. But I would like to ask, what is the total area and how many villages will be affected if this project is taken up?
So the DPR of this project is currently in preparatory stage, and the DPR requires environmental impact assessment, different assessments that are, or the impact that is there to the public, and also the public hearing is held during that phase, sir. So therefore, sir, till the DPR is not ready, we will not be able to give the details of exactly how many villages and how many square kilometers will be affected.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I have RTI here with me. I've already filed the RTI. And the total villages will be affected in Meghalaya will be 35. The total area is 15.55 square kilometers in Assam, but I doubt whether it'll be only Assam because these areas of difference is also there. So I totally doubt this 15.55 kilometers will be only of Assam, and of Meghalaya is 5.75 square kilometers. So the next question is the answer for no objection certificate. Here the answer is no, sir. But the question is, if the no objection certificate is not given, how can they go ahead with the survey?
Sir, to reply number one, sir, to the first question that was asked by the honorable member, as he has himself correctly said, that there was a rough estimate that was made, and this 15.5 kilometers aspect was included in this. So therefore, it would not be correct on my part to give an exact number without the DPR being ready, and that is the reason why I have said that the DPR is being prepared, and only once that is done will we have the exact number. So number two, the question that has been asked by the Honorable Minister. So this is a project of national importance, and it has been declared as a national project. Out of 14 projects, sir, ours is at number 11. So therefore, keeping in that aspect in mind, both the state governments, in fact, have had a meeting together on the 21st of April 2019, and on that day, a decision was made that they will go ahead, a joint inspection, in fact, was done on that day. Meetings were held, and it was decided to go ahead with the DPR.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I think the Honourable Minister Power is absent. We would like to know what happened to the Minister in charge Power, sir. Because yesterday also he was absent, so we would like to know whether he is in his post.
I am told that he is suffering. He is bedridden.
Sir, why I'm asking, why I'm being inquisitive is that the Honourable Minister Power, when he was in the opposition, repeatedly asked as to why the Minister in charge was absent. So, just to enlighten our honourable members of this August House, we should practice what we preach, sir.
But
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, now this very proposed project, Kulsi Dam project, at the areas falling between the two states along the interstate border, whether this project site falls within the area of difference in respect of areas of difference between the states of Meghalaya and Assam.
Sir, as mentioned, this is a project that is at the border area of Meghalaya and Assam, and as I said, the surveys are being done, and once the survey is complete and once we have the DPR ready, only then we will be in a position to really answer exactly, sir. Rough estimates can be given, but it would be incorrect for me to mislead the House at this point without the DPR being ready.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am putting a very specific question. The question is whether this proposed site falls along that area which is in the areas of difference, in respect of the areas of difference between the two states.
Sir, as I had mentioned, that I could give an answer which would say yes, but as I said, only once the DPR is complete, only then will we be able to actually tell which areas are and are not, sir. So therefore, as I said, it is a very serious statement to make in the floor of the House, and therefore, only once the DPR is complete will the government be able to give a concrete statement saying that yes, this is what it will fall under, and which are the areas that will be included in it.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we heard, I'm sure I heard well, in course of the replies to the supplementaries, the Honorable CM has said that they had a meeting wherein this was discussed. Now, when a meeting is held at the level of Chief Minister or at the level of a minister, that is at the highest level of policy making body of the state. Therefore, in the first instance, since there is a question of area of difference, this should have been first verified, whether this project will actually be in that area which falls under the areas of difference between the Assam and Meghalaya. Therefore, may I know from the Honorable Chief Minister whether he will first verify whether it falls within the area of difference or not, then only further decide as to whether we should say yes or not. Because in respect to reply to C, whether the government has issued no objection certificate to Brahmaputra Board, Assam, since the area is contiguous with the district of Assam, which is also a disputed area. They said, no, sir. Now, the areas of difference is clearly available with the government. We have created an exhaustive data. All the outlines strengthening our claim is available with the government. So it shouldn't be a problem. So may I know, therefore, from the Honorable Chief Minister, whether this be first verified and further proceed.
Sir, I think the Honorable Leader of Opposition has also been in a position where he understands the sensitivity of situations like these. Therefore, even a square, yard or square kilometer plus and minus this side or that side can create a lot of difference in the whole situation and the project itself. Hence, for me as Chief Minister to stand here and reply and specifically say that yes or no without having proper details would not be a responsible statement to make. And that is the reason why this joint meeting was held. I was not there in that meeting, but this joint meeting was held, and therefore the DPR is being prepared to find out the details of this project and really look at all the aspects and all the areas that are there. And once the DPR comes out, then we'll be in a position to make a decision.
I think I agree with the Chief Minister. There is no difference of opinion in this regard. But precisely because of the fact that this area falls within the proposed site falls within the area of difference. Therefore, the government has to take a call whether this project will be allowed to be proceeded further with even before we resolve the issue of the areas of difference with the counterpart.
So that is exactly the point, sir. That is where the DPR is being made, and once it's made, then we'll decide whether we'll go ahead or not.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to inquire from the Honorable Chief Minister whether or not a bilateral agreement would precede the DPR, and if such, has it been done?
No, sir, there is no such bilateral agreement.
Sir, what is the problem in assuring this August House?
It is not an assurance to the LO. It is not an assurance to Dr. Mukul. The state needs to know whether this project will be allowed to proceed further without even realizing as to what will be the stand of the government. That means the Honorable Chief Minister hasn't done his homework. Even when you had a joint meeting, he didn't have. Could make out इशारों के लिए समझदारों के लिए इशारे काफी है. We can read between the lines. So assure the August House, assure the state that under no circumstances in the area of difference, anything that we do will not be done without taking the people on board.
I think that is exactly what I have been saying. I don't know why the LO is taking it round and round and round. My point is very simple.
that yes, we are concerned about this issue, and obviously as a state government, we will not move forward with giving a green signal.
You didn't say that.
Sir, I said once.
You didn't say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir.
Sir, he is to allow
we
me to
want
reply.
that. Yes, thank you for saying that.
Allow me to reply, sir. In the previous reply, I had said, sir, I had replied that we will wait for the DPR to be able to prepare so that we can take a proper decision with all the facts and figures, knowing the details of the project. And it would be incorrect for me to give any statement in this House about the areas affected and whether or not we will be moving in this without getting the DPR. Once the DPR is ready, it is only then will we be in the right position to make a decision and move forward, sir.